We offer customized, flexible nutritional counseling designed specifically for you. We work with diverse clientele of all different ages, different needs, and goals. Whether you are looking for fat loss, muscle gain, body composition shifts, improved health, performance, and endurance, we're here to help.
All right, Serious and Silliness Bodybuilding has a very interesting interview. One of the best in the world, Hunter Labrada. What's up, Hunter?
How you doing, brother? Thanks for having me back on.
Oh, of course. Are you kidding? Yeah. So people who don't know, I have a show on MD called MD Muscle Talk, and Hunter was nice enough to come on and talk about, pretty much his bodybuilding career, his Olympia, the upcoming Arnold, and so on and so forth. And that was actually the first interview you did since the Olympia, right?
Yeah, probably the first interview where it wasn't just me just talking to a camera. Yeah, where I was talking to people. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. But the first question that I wanted to ask you, I actually asked this Sergio because that's Sergio on. He actually came on a couple of times. I asked Sergio if it was difficult for people comparing him to his father, and I'm going to ask that to you too. The same question: is it difficult, or is it a compliment because it's your dad? Or is it something you've been used to since you're a child?
It's something that I personally, don't take in a negative light. I don't have this like massive chip on my shoulder. I'm not like, plotting like, oh, one day, I got to be better than dad kind of deal. It's not like that at all. Really and truly coming up with him as dad, is more so like I had a great example of what to strive for. And like, I know that sounds like a little cheesy, but everyone's so negative about things. So like a lot of the dialogue that you hear is like, oh, he's just doing this because his dad did it, or it's what easy, or this or that. But it's coming from a really good place. I had a great example growing up of someone that went after it and got it and did what they loved for a living, and transitioned it into a career after. And it's very much so what I'm trying to do right now too. So I like being compared to him. I think there's a lot of similarities in our physique, and I'm doing my best to make sure there's a lot of similarities in our life trajectory right now. So I like the comparisons.
Well, that's definitely a good outlook, because Sergio's answer was a little bit more like he kind of at one point he kind of got upset over it, but then he's kind of gotten used to it because,
dude, honestly, like Sergio, he's been dealing with it, longer than I've been. He's obviously older than me, and he's a hard on his sleeve kind of guy for sure.
Yeah, right.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you at times it doesn't get to me. It's like people really want to, discredit something that has taken me over a decade to achieve just because of who dad is. And it's like I can definitely understand it. Like some people are just fucking bitter, and they have to be able to put a reason on why someone's doing better than them. But like others, like I get it. I see where they're coming from. But if people saw like the day to day, and they saw what we're doing, and what I'm doing with my father, what I'm doing with the people I have around me, it's really different than what's perpetuated a lot of the time.
Oh, I agree, and I think the majority of comments, social media is probably a compliment toward you and toward guys like Sergio. It's just those handful that it's going to get under your skin, right? Because that's what basically Sergio had told me. So how much of
the last name is a double-edged sword, and very much so a damned if we do and damned if we don't thing. Right. Because I'm saying we in the case of me and Sergio, because him and I have really, I'm pretty sure we're 2 of 2, right? Olympic qualified dads and then us. But if we do really well and we win and we look good, it's no fucking shit. His dad's, Lee or Sergio. That's exactly what he should do. If we don't do well, it's how can he fuck that up that bad? He's got all the genetics and all the help in the world. So it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's very much so one of those things.
If somebody gives that opinion on either side, okay, I am of the opinion that you don't know bodybuilding that well, because
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I was going to get to this very quickly. And that is what I find my like solace in, or my peace in. And that is anyone that really knows bodybuilding and knows what goes into it that they know I handle mine. You know, they know I
Right.
take care of my business. You know,
Yeah.
you don't get to where I do without doing that. You know, so
Yeah.
the people that know, and like the people that I compete with and my contemporaries and my friends, you know, the ones that are on stage with me, we all know because we all do it together.
Mm.
You know, so it's
Yeah.
like I have the respect of the people that matter to me is probably the best way to say it.
Yeah. I think the majority of people will give you, I mean, and when I say majority, I mean 95%. Because when even like interviews I've seen of you, you've come across very graciously and intelligent, and you're not a mean spirited guy. So people are gonna be intrigued by that. They're gonna be, attracted to that. So, and that's the same opinion that we had of you after we did the MD. I was actually gonna make a joke and I didn't. I stopped myself, right? Because you were so cool on the show. Right after you were gonna leave, I was gonna say something like, that guy's such a dick. But I was like, nah, let me not do that. But how much
At the end of the day, man, there's plenty of our sport's full of people with great physiques and like shit attitudes and personalities. I'd much rather, yeah, at the end of the day, it'd be nice to be remembered for your physique, but I'd much rather be like remembered for being like just a good dude that, like
absolutely.
people think when they have like positive stories, or like, oh, he was really nice to me at the gym, or, oh, I saw him, guest pose one time and he talked to me after. Like, I'd much rather have like a multitude of that than, the
Yeah.
trophies and nothing else to go with it.
And it's probably an aspect of bodybuilding that you're not prepared for, right? You just want to go on stage, you want to win, you want to be prepared. It's very difficult if anybody has ever prepared for a bodybuilding contest with the amount of training you have to do and the low carbs and the low calories. And then all of a sudden you kind of have to be at the Olympia, you got to do a meet and greet, you're exhausted, you're dehydrated, you're starving, and you're trying to peak properly. But yet you have to put a smile on your face. You have to shake hands. You got to sign autographs. And that's part of the job. And it's probably something that's unexpected until you get there. It's like, oh, man, I was just trying to win this whole time. But now there's this whole other element that you have to. And let's be real. I mean, you are a different case, but in majority of people's cases that are at your level, if they don't do that, they're not going to get a sponsor.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Right.
For sure. These days, honestly, though, Labrada's really stepped away from being like at a lot of shows in person. So these days, it's more, the Wolfpack and the Gasp companies that I'm there representing at that. So it's very much so one of those things you have to understand that, winning on stage is not enough.
Right.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure, people that like me and other pros have, said this enough now. Hopefully people understand it. But it's like, gone are the days where if you're a top 10 pro, that you have that 6-figure magazine contract and a 6-figure supplement contract, and
That's
you
right.
can just hide away for 11 months out of the year, show up, do your contest, take pictures for 2 weeks after, and then ride off into the sunset for the rest of the year. It's not how it works anymore.
Those days are
You
over.
have to be personable. You have to be at the events. You have to build your brand. There's a million guys that look incredible.
Yeah.
There is. So you have to differentiate yourself, and that's how we do it these days.
Yeah, and it's, no, 100% accurate. I see it all the time. I have a couple of pros that work out in the gym that I go to, and they have to be on social media. They always have somebody there, filming them and so on and so forth for Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is, and it's necessary. Like you said, they have to build themselves up as a brand. Otherwise, the Dorian Yates thing, forget it. That ain't working anymore today. It ain't happening. How much influence did your dad have for you to become an actual bodybuilder? Was he like, I really want you to become one? Or, you know what, whatever decision you make, I'm gonna back you through and through?
So if anyone wants to know the whole backstory on how I came to bodybuild, it's out there in enough interviews now. I won't take the 5 minutes of ours to say it.
Okay.
But the best way to say about how my dad felt about me bodybuilding was I played football. And whenever my freshman year of college came around, then I told him that, it was during training camp, freshman year of college football. I was like, I'm done with football. I'm going to bodybuild. It was during camp. It was 3 weeks before school started. It was like, I'm coming home. I swear to God, get a ride home from the airport. Like, really? He wouldn't come get me. Like, he was pissed.
Really?
And it took a good, 6 months, 8 months for him to see, me putting my head down, A, taking care of business at school. I made good grades. But B, really keeping my head down. I went to school at 200 pounds and then came home at Christmas at 230.
Right.
And he was
right.
oh, okay. He was serious about it. So I wouldn't say that anyone who knows, what goes into the top level of bodybuilding would say that's what they want for their kid.
Right.
But it was one of those things that he saw that I was getting into it to the point where, I was going to bodybuild. So it was either going to be with or without him. And, with the guidance and, everything he has to offer, or, me, trolling through forums and trying to figure out what to do on my own. So
Yeah. And you're not alone as far as dealing with that with your own man, because even me, I come from a blue collar background. My whole family were electricians. My father, my brothers, my grandfather, and my father wanted me to go to school and drilled it in my head, go to college, become a lawyer, become a doctor, blah blah blah. It just wasn't in me. It wasn't, I went to college, but it wasn't in me to do that. I hated it. I hated anything I tried outside of blue collar. So
yeah,
finally,
I have a degree in economics from Texas A&M. So,
yeah.
I went to school, did the school thing, and definitely love what I do.
All
Definitely
right,
love
good, good, good. So you did the Olympia this year, and you came in 7th, right?
Yes, sir.
Which is great, right? But from the last interview, you were disappointed, and I understand. I mean, you went from 4th to 7th, but breaking the top 10 in the world is an accomplishment in my eyes, right? But I understand how you didn't want to drop. How did you cope afterwards? Because you had told me on an MD that it was you were not okay, you were difficult. How did you cope afterwards? What were the coping mechanisms to get you through that tough time?
So I said this the very first time I ever talked about it was for a Gasp interview, and the best way to sum up the Olympia was I endured the biggest shock of my life in front of thousands of people.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, got sideswiped. And in the absolute moment of, between, not hearing my name in that first call out and then finishing out finals, I will give myself a pat on the back, and I don't do that a lot of the time. I was able to keep my head in it, focus on, what was in my control. In my head, it was okay, let's try and get better, battle it out at finals, put on a good show at the posing routine, finish it out strong, and then you can pick up the pieces afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, after giving myself that pat on the back, there were pieces to pick up afterwards. It's, I guess you asked, how did I cope with it? How did I cope with it? I stayed off of my phone for 2 weeks, and, I kept those who were closest to me around me. I had my wife, I had my daughter, I had my family around me. I live, 10 minutes from my brothers and my parents and my family. So, and I'd been in prep for forever, and it was Christmas time. So, Christmas was not nice. It was a nice distraction. It's
Yeah,
the best
that's
way
right.
to say it. But, to be able to come home, unplug, put my phone away, eat when I want to eat, go get a pump at the gym if I wanted to go to the gym, but not worried about training,
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed my family, did Christmas. And, after Christmas, that little, 25th to, January 1st period, that's normally like a who am I and what am I doing period for anyone at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the year, because you're typically off work and,
Right,
whatever.
right.
It was like times 100. As this kind of like, I just spent the last year training for something that in my mind, I was moving up spots. It was how many,
Right, right, right,
that
right.
that was that was my mindset for over a year. It was, I
Mm-hmm.
am going up, but how many am I going up?
Right.
So to have it crash and burn like that, it was one of those things that I really had to wrap my head around the failure. I'll
Mm-hmm.
call it what it is. It was a failure. I did not achieve the goal I set.
Mm-hmm.
7th, top 10 in the world. It's good. The lineup was a lot better. I could say, okay, well, Samson was new, Derek was new, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, I did not move up spots, and that's what I told myself I was going to do
Mm-hmm.
for a year. So I had to wrap my head around that failure.
Yeah.
Because if I'm being honest with you, I haven't had a lot in bodybuilding. Outside of the Olympia, I've never lost a bodybuilding show still. I'll put that to the test this year when I compete at the 2 shows that I'm doing. But
That's right.
outside of the Olympia, I've never lost a show. And my first 2 Olympias, I smacked my goals. My first Olympia headed into it is I wanted to place top 10. I placed 8th. Second Olympia headed into it, I wanted to place top 5. I placed 4th. So, each one, I was very pragmatic and realistic about it. Headed into this one is I wanted to improve on that 4th place placing, and I did not do that. So, it was definitely a new feeling, taking it in, processing it, talking about it, and, just deciding what to do with it. I'd always you know, in my mind, garnered what I'd consider, like a champion mindset. You fall, you get back down, you dust it off. It's one that I had applied a lot more like in the off season, and one that came in the wake of having surgeries, recovering from the surgeries, recovering from injuries, this, that, and another. It was something that I applied to more then, not in the wake of a show. So to learn to apply something that I had developed over here, like shift the lens and look at this situation through it. It took some time, but I'd say after New Year's, it took me a second to get back in the gym. I'd say, I'm training on like every day is the same right now. So like it's a 7-day split. I'd say that first, running it through cycle, it was one of those I'd rather, cut my fucking pinky off with a butter knife than be in here right now kind of deals. But
yeah,
it's at the end of the day, I'll say this too to all the amateurs out there: enjoy it while you're an amateur, because once it's your job, it's your job. There's okay, I'm gonna be done with bodybuilding for a while and just focus on my family and my actual job. I'll put the hobby on the back burner. It's you got to get back in there and do it. You have a bad day as an accountant. You make an error on a spreadsheet, you're still at your office the next day doing your fucking spreadsheets. So,
right.
Got back in the gym. Drug ass, woe is me, pity party for the first training cycle, I'll admit it. But then, very much so, the wound had started to scab over. It's still not healed, but, it started to scab over. Time heals all things. Started to get some good training sessions in, body was coming back to life because, January 1st was when I really got back on a meal plan. I'm eating like I'm on prep right now. It's just more food. So, got back on a meal plan, got, 2 weeks of training back under my belt, saw my body come back to life. And, mentally at that point, it's, you can either, fall down, you can either stay down or get back up. And,
right.
We're going to get back up. That's, the only choice there is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's a short year for me in terms of being able to improve because, prep starts for me, sometime April, May area. So, it was time to improve because, my issue, I have two issues. One is, size on the back, and that happens right now. It doesn't happen 2 months from now. It doesn't happen during prep. Everyone wants to say, oh, I grow on prep. Maybe. It happens now, though. So that improvement needs to happen now. The other one is I need to get peeled, and that one happens in prep. So, focus on that one. I need to focus on that. But right now I need to grow, and that comes from smashing food and, handling business in the gym. So, was disciplined about it at first, and then, it got fun again. And right now I'm back to being like a golden retriever in the gym.
All right, good.
Call it what it is. Like, last year I trained the same split and the same AB rotation of that split for like a year and a half. A big progressive overload, ride it till the wheels fall off. If it ain't broke, don't fix it guy. But, definitely changed the split around a little to prioritize back even more. And, took the time to, really, during those 2 weeks that I was talking to you about, took some time to, try this, try that, because it wasn't, super locked in and tracking everything. So, I'm a big, I love what happens in the off season. That's what I love about bodybuilding. Like competing is cool because I get to show off the work, but what I love is, like the training, the eating, the camaraderie that comes in the gym. That's what I love about it.
That's right. Yeah, that's the fun part.
To be in the gym and to be playing around with exercises and just really finding the new split and dialing it in and having good workouts and seeing my body come back to life. It was like, oh yeah, this is what you love about it. So had that happen, and I've been balls to the wall, pedal down since then.
All right, good. Glad to hear it, man.
Season, so need to improve.
All right, good. Glad to hear it, because if anybody knows anything about human nature, especially about a man, is that men have to go through shit to become a better person, to become a better man. It's you can't live an entitled life and think you're going to be a better person. It doesn't work that way, especially with men. We're going to have to go through shit and go through failures and go through disappointments. And then you gain wisdom at the end of it.
Perspective. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's inevitable. So the fact that you went through what you went through is in the long run will be a benefit. And I truly believe that. I even have it tattooed on me, wisdom and strength. Did you ever get a chance to talk to Ramy? Because could you imagine what he went through going from Mr. Olympia to
and I didn't get a chance to talk with him after the show. Talked with him before at the press conference and everything. Credit where credit's due. I got to give my dude a shout out. He is, one of the nicest, genuine people I have ever met on a bodybuilding stage.
I've
Like,
heard that
for
plenty
sure.
of times about him.
So
Yeah.
let me tell you my one Rami story just to illustrate that. Then we'll get on
Good.
with it. But it was
No, it's
my
fine.
first Olympia ever. So the first one that he won, the 2021, and I had just come off from like my 60-second presentation. So literally the first time I was ever on an Olympia stage. And I, A, had just posed for 60 seconds, but B, probably had the biggest adrenaline dump of my life happen right before it. So I'm like
Right.
borderline hyperventilating. And this guy grabs a box that he sees and starts fanning me and smiles and goes, "Breathe, brother."
Really?
Before he did his individual. That's the
All
cool
right.
part to me. So that's my cool little Rami story. But no, he's a good dude. But I can't.
Everybody, good.
I can tell you how I imagine how he feels. I imagine he felt pretty fucking low about it for a couple days, and then he woke up and said, "I'm gonna win the Arnold," and then got to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. That's probably
That's
exactly.
all you can do. He's a champion. He's won the Olympia twice. I
Yeah.
promise you, he's got it between the ears to do it. He had a disappointment, but
Right.
he's gonna go back to work.
Yeah, that's exactly why he did the Arnold. He did not want to wait a year to go back to the Olympia.
Yeah.
There's no question. Absolutely. During the time where it was difficult for you to get back to the gym, did you have a gym that you go to where it was like quiet, maybe nobody knew you that well, something like that?
So I actually train out of a private facility. It's actually at Labrada's headquarters. It's 5,000 square foot. It's where everything that I do is out of. So like any content you see, any check-ins I post, it's all at the Labrada gym.
Okay.
But touching on like, did I have a place to go to or whatever? It was really weird. Because obviously I can count on my two hands how many times I had trained outside of that gym between the 2021 Olympia and the 2022 Olympia.
Okay.
And it was all just guest posings while I was out of town. So
I
every
gotcha.
single bit of work that I had done between the Olympias was in that room. And when I walked in for the first time, like I lost it, like bad.
Yeah.
I had like my timer up on the wall with the countdown on the days, and just I lost it. So there's a gym like 10 minutes from my house, not 10 minutes, like 5 minutes from my house that I do all my cardio at in the mornings. And I'd go there and just kind of like stretch, roll out, do my cardio, and do what I wanted to do for the first couple days that I like wanted to be back in the gym, if you will. Yeah. So definitely weird how much time we spend at those places, man. It's like everything about it, the sights, the smells, like the feelings, it can pull some emotions out of you for sure.
Oh, no question about it. I can imagine. This year, 2023, have you decided what shows you're going to do yet?
I have. Not ready to tell the public yet, but I have.
Don't worry about it. It's no big deal. I totally understand. But obviously, the idea is to win, qualify, go back to the Olympia, and basically wreck the Olympia, destroy everybody on stage. That's
the plan. The plan is to pick up where I was headed into this last year's one, but not drop the ball. Yeah.
Right. All right. Very cool, man. Very cool. No, I totally understand it.
I will say this.
Go ahead.
I'm not focused on going back to the Olympia and wrecking the Olympia, though. Like the only thing in my mind right now that I want to come out of this year is I want to figure my peak out.
Okay.
I'm so fucking sick of working as hard as I do and killing myself the way that I do to have it not be perfect because of that.
Right.
So, there's things I can do better for sure in the off season, but I really want to figure that out this year. That's the goal of this year.
When we were on MD together, I had asked you a question, and apparently it got that question got to a particular YouTube personality. Yeah. I mean, we could just say it's Nick Trigilli, but I didn't really ask that question because I was trying to pull something out of you. I just sincerely, legitimately wondered why you went with Ben with the as opposed to anyone else, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And Nick basically had assumed that I definitely knew why you went with Ben as opposed to somebody else, which I didn't. I don't know you. I don't know you that well. I was watching. I was like, what the fuck do I know? How do I, But how do you deal with people like that? I mean, you got to deal with the fucking the comments, and, you know, on social media. But when you have a big personality that influences people's opinions like that, how do you deal with that? Because that's got to be difficult, man.
So
and it's not just you. It's not like he just
no, credit where credit due. He is an equal opportunity. He is an equal opportunity person.
Shit
for
talker.
sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. But you know, honestly, my thing is, and you know, you kind of hit it on the head. The only thing, I have thick skin. I'm used to. I came up like the second I got started bodybuilding, I had the people in my ear about dad. So you know, like I've been used to that, I guess. So the thing that is just a little bothersome about it is when it first started, you know, it was just kind of a peripheral, like, okay, I'm not going to address this. I never get into internet beefs with anyone. You know, I'm not going to address this random video. It got like a couple thousand views, like whatever, you know. But obviously, you know, he's done a great job building his channel. Again, credit where credit's due. He's built it over 100,000 subscribers now. And you know, I find myself between a rock and a hard place now, because I find he has become, you know, a main source of bodybuilding news for a lot of people. And anyone that goes to him for their news, they have a very, you know, skewed view of me, I feel like, at this point, you know, a very negative, skewed view. So at the end of the day, that kind of irritates me, just because it hasn't been, you know, like in a physique thing. You can tell me my physique shit all day, you know, like talk about the torn pec, talk about how I'm missing the lats, you know, can't show up in shape, whatever. It's bodybuilding for sure. I put myself out there as a bodybuilder. I'm a professional bodybuilder. You know, you're subject to public opinion at the end of the day. Like, you can't get mad about people like ripping you apart physique wise. It's just the attacks on the morals and the this and the that's that have been kind of disappointing. So, and that, you know, that I feel have kind of painted me in a poor light to a lot of people. And I know there'll probably be a video made about this, and I'm not going to address it. I'm not going to address it then either. At the end of the day, you know, the people that care enough to truly know about me will do a little bit of their own, you know, reading, research, digging, watching, you know, like whatever you want to call it, and hopefully, you know, see me for what, you know, I think a lot of people that know me and follow me see me for. So
what's funny is
I'm gonna stay out the mud. It served me well so far.
Yeah, I don't blame you, dude. What's funny is I asked Sergio the same question, and he said the same answer. I'll probably get a reaction from this video too. He had the same fucking answer.
It'll be very cherry picked little excerpts though.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes,
it will. It is what it is.
Yeah, you know, it's he knows how to create drama, and he knows how to create.
He's done a great job of building a channel and an audience, and he's taken it and running with it.
Yeah, but to go to him for your bodybuilding news, I'd rather go to Nick Strength and Power or you know, a Desktop Bodybuilding or my fucking channel. I mean, come to my channel.
At the end of the day, he does break a lot of stuff before anyone else.
That's true.
I just wish it could be, like, as a whole, a little more positive. I'm a big positive energy, like put positivity out into the world, you know. But I know negativity gets views. I know, you know, clickbaity titles get views, and you know, at the end of the day, YouTube for him is a source of income, and at this point, with 100,000 subscribers, a big source of income. So
that's right. That's right.
People go where the money goes, for sure. It's
no
a business
question about it.
And he's good at his business.
That's right. I would love to know if he shows up at anybody. Oh, he's actually commentating at the Arnold, I believe.
I think he's doing like a live on the webcast, like off of the commentating on what you see on the stream.
Oh, because I would love to.
Could be wrong.
Yeah, I would love to know if anybody ever confronted him about it. But we'll see. You had mentioned something really important, and it's important to me, but I think the fact that you have this tremendous support system, your family, I think goes underrated in today's standards. Carlos Thomas Jr., who's now a friend of mine and does the MD channel with me almost every week, he has a great support system just like you with his family. Talk about how important that is to have and how that keeps you on the straight and narrow, because I feel like the people that don't have that, they veer off the track greatly.
So I definitely feel like what we're talking about, I feel like you're got like two camps with this school of thought. And one is bodybuilding's an individual sport. It's a selfish sport. You need to take care of yourself, and you're fucking stupid for saying things like team and we and this and that. It's an individual sport. I'm not part of that camp.
Yeah.
I acknowledge them. I realize it works for people. I'm not shitting on it in any way, shape, or form. It's just not what I do. Other camp, you have the people that, when things get really hard, because let's be honest, if you bodybuild, things get hard eventually.
Mhm.
You have the people around you that, support you, whether it be, emotionally, whether it be time-wise, they help cook your food. They, help get your kid ready for school in the morning so you can do your fasted cardio. There's a million things that you can talk about, but they help you out, like, emotionally. They help you out with your time. They're a support system for you, and to me, that works really well as an athlete because you receive that from them. But, also for me, it's very motivating to have that around me, because if I am, taking these people's energy, and I'm not saying that in a negative way, but, at the end of the day, that's what you're doing. You're taking their energy, they're filling your cup to help you with your bodybuilding. It's very motivating to me to think about the fact that if they're doing that for me, I better not do anything less than my absolute best at everything that I do.
Right.
I am being fucking disrespectful to my wife. I am being disrespectful to my coach. I am being disrespectful to my daughter. If I don't knock this out, I don't eat that, and I don't do this to the best of my ability.
Right.
Having that team and that structure around me, it affords me that mentality. And, it's one thing, to be like doing it for you. And at the end of the day, it's most important to be doing it for you. But, when you're doing it for you, and then, the people that I talked about, and, it's much more than those, but, whenever you're thinking about, like, I'm fucking disrespecting my daughter right now if I don't take this all the way, it makes things a little different.
Yeah, absolutely. Last question, then I'm going to let you go. Because you have that support system, I come from a very close family too. Being Italian from the East Coast, it's pretty traditional.
Italian, I'm Cuban. So for those of y'all that don't know, Lee is 100% Cuban. I'm 50% Cuban, even though I'm like see-through white. But yeah, I completely feel you on the big families and the big support systems. We can definitely relate. There's nothing longer than a Cuban or a Italian goodbye, right?
Oh my God. Sometimes I hate it. Sometimes I wait till everybody leaves.
It takes like 7 or 8 hugs. It's the initial goodbye. I've got my shoes on goodbye. I forgot my keys over here. I got to tell everyone else goodbye. I made it out to the driveway, but these people are leaving, so I'm going to tell them goodbye again.
Oh, it's God's honest truth. I've literally waited for half the people to leave before I leave because I didn't want to say goodbye to everybody. I've literally done that.
I've been pretty deep into preps before, obviously, for the Olympias when they're like in December for Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. And like I did it 2 years in a row. It was one of those, guys, I'm way too tired to tell everyone goodbye. I love you all. I will see you later.
Yeah, and I think they get it, man. They fucking understand.
Oh no, my family definitely gets it for sure.
All right, good.
For sure.
When I obviously never even close to your level, I would do NPC shows. And, obviously before I was married, I was dating my wife. We were living together and so on and so forth. And every time I would compete, the day after the competition, win, lose, or draw, whatever it would be, I would run out and I would buy flowers, gifts, whatever I could for my wife, because she was my support system. How do you give back to your wife, your kids, your father, your mom, and your family after it's all said and done?
Okay, so for my parents, the best way that I give back to them is with my time. They have everything they could ever want. I can't give them anything that they don't have, but I give them my time, and at this point, I'm busier than them, so. But I'm not saying they're not busy. Between my dad, with the business, and then they've started traveling a little more together now that they're older. Thank God. Lee's a workaholic, I'll say that. But between like how busy like all three involved are, like the time that we spend is special. So like after the show, I'll make it a point. Liv and I'll take them out to dinner. We'll make it a point to get over to their house and hang out with them. Make it a point to like train with my dad, whether it be like arms or just in the gym at the same time as each other. Like pose a little. So just stuff like that. And then, with my wife, she basically puts everything on hold and, makes sure everything is taken care of for me. So, like after the show gets done, I like to spoil her for a while, but like just like go way over the top. But as soon as that's over, like returning to normalcy and like settling back into, because like in a normal scenario, like I do, like share like a good bit of like the stuff around the house, and like I pull my weight at least. She does do more than me, but I at least pull my weight. Most of the time leading into shows, especially like the last 6 or 8 weeks, I'll admit I don't pull my weight. So
never, you can't
I'll go above and beyond, but then get back to pulling my weight and just like being with her and settling into being us again. We'll take a trip or do this or that, and then with my daughter, the same answer I gave you for my parents, honestly. Just give her my time. There's a lot of gymnastics practices. I'll never miss anything huge, but like during the Olympia prep, she was doing stuff, like extracurriculars, 3 nights a week. So there'd be, like a tumbling thing I'd have to miss here, a gymnastics lesson I'd have to miss there, or, Liv and her would go eat. And, I was at the point where I, mentally just didn't want to sit in a restaurant for 45 minutes. And, so it's like, like those things. So just give time, give special situations, go to the trampoline park, just like ask, like, what do you want to do? And we'll just go do whatever she wants. So give time, just spend time with people. At the end of the day, obviously, people say like money isn't everything, a certain level of money, is something. You have to have that security and that comfort. But once you reach that level, and I'm blessed to say that most of the people that around me are at that level, I feel like time is the best commodity you can give people. It is a limited resource, and at the end of the day, you can't just like buy it and go like that. It takes your attention. So
agree 100%, man. Listen, Hunter, I'm gonna let you go. It's been a pleasure. I've always respected you. I respect you even more now because of your honesty and the conversations we've had, and you just coming on. I got a small platform. Hopefully it grows. Well, it will grow. Not hopefully, it will grow.
Definitely. No, keep on doing the work.
So much respect, much love always, and best of luck to you. I will be following your bodybuilding career, because that's what I love, and I got to do it for the channel, so it's even better. And I'll be in touch with you. Maybe we can do it again. Maybe you can come on MD again. It'll be great.
No, yeah, for sure. I'm down whenever, man. We'll have on whenever.
Hunter, thank you very much, sir. I'll talk to you soon.
Good talking with you, man. Appreciate you.
All right, later.